Okay, so I just had a really interesting observation and a realization mostly. So I just realized, so like when I was a kid, because I know what I'm doing right now. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm being messy. It's my own way of protest slash saving my time. So, anyways, what I realized is that that's what we did. What I did too as a kid. Because think about it. As a kid, a kid doesn't care about walking on the sidewalk, right? The kid's gonna take the shortcut. So my point being is that kids always find shortcuts. That's just kind of what happens. They don't know stuff. Or we don't know stuff when we're born, and that's the whole neuroplasticity thing. And so kids are obviously better at learning than we adults. And that's one of the things I quickly learned, that in order to survive in this household, I need to be messy for it to work out, and the whole religion thing too. And so that's kind of what I'm realizing. So I didn't realize it back then, but if I'm leaving trash out, it's still based on the same basic psychological assumption here, that if we're not being respected, then we don't have to be respect back. And that's exactly why they got so anal about religion and everything. That's what it is. It's always control. But it's just an interesting realization. Like, think about behaviors that you do now that you used to do as kids. Because when you're a kid, you do the shortcut thing, like I just said. And generally, if you're doing the shortcut thing, were you happier at the time, right? You probably were happier at the time, in a sense, because you're kind of in your own little world, school and everything. So it's the same idea. If you can recreate the same environment, even in your own mind, then in that same sense, you're reclaiming back, that same environment you had when you were younger. And that's how you can, I don't know. There's probably a psychology thing for it, kind of like your own mind bubble, I guess. And that's kind of why I wear the whole noise canceling headphones. It's just, that's how you create the environment. You block out the environment. You know the people exist, but just because the people exist in the same environment you have, it doesn't mean that you actually have to acknowledge them. Think of it like a hotel lobby, right? You're waiting for your turn at the coffee stand. You're in line for the hotel lobby's reception desk, right? Same deal here. There's no lobby, right? It's a kitchen. You're waiting, instead of your turn for the coffee machine, you're waiting your turn at the hand washing station, or where you make your food, right? The heat thing, the range, or the refrigerator. So that's how you get out. You start treating the other people in your environment, like I said, because they're on NPC mode, treat them like